Welcome to Empower You, the podcast for women who are done faking fine and ready to come home to themselves. I'm your host, Sarah Hoffing, a psychology grad turned spiritual life coach, mom of 3, and military spouse. If you've spent your life holding it all together, doing what's expected, keeping the peace, staying in control, but deep down you know something has to change, you're in the right place. Here we talk about what it really means to move from fear to freedom, from burnout to inner trust. Through raw conversations and soul-led solo episodes, you'll hear stories of women who have stopped performing and started trusting, and find tools to help you do the same. Each episode is a chance to exhale, to feel seen, and to remember that you don't have to control everything to live a life that feels like yours. Let's begin. Before we dive into today's conversation, I want to share something that feels deeply aligned with what we're all about here: intuition, purpose, and soul truth. If you've ever wondered why you're here, what your purpose really is, or why certain patterns keep showing up in your life, this is for you. Soul Code is a personalized reading that blends intuition, astrology, and AI, channeled through your unique soul blueprint. In just 10 minutes, you'll uncover insights about your progress, past lives, and the energetic patterns your soul came here to heal. One of my clients said her soul code reading was as accurate as a Vedic astrologer she saw in India, which says a lot. It's clear, specific, and deeply affirming, and right now it's only $27. So if you're ready to see yourself through your soul's eyes, you can find the link to Soul Code in the show notes below. All right, let's begin. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Empower You podcast. I am so excited to have Juan here to speak to us. And I really want to tell everybody, if you can start by just talking about your story, your journey, and just everything that got you here. I know that you had a huge transition going from IG Creator Academy into the Awakened Entrepreneur. And if you can just kind of start with, where you used to, I felt like it was like a hustle, and then now it's more soul-led. If you can start with that, with your journey, let's just get right into it.
Yeah, I love this question because when we first, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. I'm honored.
So,
I'm usually just invited to marketing podcasts, business podcasts. So lately, I think this is my second interview on like more spiritual podcast, which is the direction that I've been like taking with my whole brand and business and life as well. But when we first
good.
started talking, yeah, we talked about the awakened entrepreneur, which was still like centered around entrepreneurship and business, but I've had like a massive pivot over the last, I would say, 2 to 3 weeks. So I'll tell you all about it. So I did
Yeah, oh,
start
good.
my journey. I started my journey in 2021. It started as me sharing content on Instagram. I had this background in marketing and social media. So I was like, I'm just gonna share what I know. And
Mm-hmm.
it was around the time that reels on Instagram have started to pop off. So my reels just went viral, and I grew 100,000 followers in 9 months. And people started reaching
Wow.
out. How have you done it? I want to work with you. Brands started reaching out. So I found myself like in the middle of this business that I had no idea I had created, which was really
Yeah.
cool. It was also, I mean, it brought a lot of challenges as well because I wasn't really spiritually grounded. I was very,
Mm,
my worth was still very much attached to all the external environment and people's reactions and metrics and all of that. But that's a whole other story. But it was part of what really led me to pivoting, right? So
mm-hmm.
I started that in 2021. I ran that business for like, let's say 3 years. But at some point, I started to feel very disconnected with the brand that I had built. I started feeling like it wasn't motivating me, fulfilling me anymore. And I did build, as I said, I built a brand around like vanity. People were coming to me because they wanted to grow their social media, right? And it just stayed
Interesting.
there, right? It was not like in-depth support. And I knew deep in my heart and my soul that I had so much more to give, and that was not my full purpose. But it took me years to really figure out everything. I went through a harsh breakup with my partner, 4 years together, and that was the moment when my business started crumbling, but it also was my first kind of spiritual awakening because it showed me all my flaws,
Mm-hmm.
all my shadows as
Mm-hmm.
well, all the things that I had never really been aware of and that I needed to start working on. So I started my journey there, my spiritual journey. Um, Long story short, that led me to Bali last year. And
Wow.
when I moved to Bali in October last year, I already knew that I couldn't continue with the business that I had built. Like it was not even working anymore. Like sales were not as easy as they used to at the beginning. Content wasn't flowing. My Instagram growth just tanked. So after the 100,000 followers, I think I grew up to 126,000 followers and it just stopped and it started decreasing and decreasing. And my
Wow.
content wasn't reaching anyone anymore. It was just like there was a huge block there. So I moved to Bali and somehow I already knew that I wanted to have this pivot in my business. So I was researching on Instagram. I was looking for spiritual entrepreneurs because I knew that I wanted to move on to the spiritual like niche, if you want to call it like that. And I found this
Mm-hmm.
guy who lived in Bali, spiritual entrepreneur, and he was very close to where I was staying. So I messaged him, and he was like, "Oh yeah, let's meet up." So we met up, and he is actually a Christian. I was not a Christian. I was not necessarily a believer. I just believed in the universe and energy.
Mm-hmm.
That was like part of my first spiritual awakening. Realizing that there's more to us, that there's like that we are
Mm-hmm.
made of energy, that everything is energy. So that was like my first kind of like dipping into spirituality a little bit. But then I was led to a Christian community and he invited me to go to church. And I was like, I mean, I come from a Catholic background. I hated church. It was so boring. Very old school, very they made you feel guilty about everything. You're a sinner. So I was like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to get into
Oh,
that again.
yeah.
But I went to church because I was like, okay, I'm in Bali. I'm meeting new people, new experiences. Why not? And I went to
Yeah.
church and I had the most beautiful experience my first time in church. I felt like some really powerful mystical energy. I was crying. And ever since that moment, I started going every Sunday to church. And this is a very modern, like church, not the typical old school church. It was fun. I met a lot of people. I got baptized as a Christian. And then after 6 months of being out, I started studying the Bible, learning about Jesus Christ, like I really got into it. But after 6 months, I was like, it feels off. Like it doesn't feel like me.
Mm.
Um,
Is this what
and
you're talking about with the past 3 weeks? That something shifted? Is that what shifted the past 3 weeks? Oh, wow.
Y- Yeah, 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 yeah. But that started really like around April, where I was reading the
Okay.
Bible and it felt like they were portraying God as this angry, wrathful, vengeful, like, we're all sinners. Again, like that guilt and condemnation that I
Mm-hmm.
experienced as a child going to church in the Catholic Church came back. And I was like, doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel like the God of love, the universal love that
Mm-hmm.
I know deep in my heart. And I was like, but damn, like I've started building a new business around Christianity and Jesus, and like I pivoted to this. I felt like I was betraying my faith. I felt like I was just like I felt completely lost, spiritually lost as well. And that's when I started remembering. It's the weirdest thing, and I people
Mm.
won't understand it if they don't experience it, but I started remembering.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just remember something in my soul that I'm meant to be doing something else, and I got led into mysticism, Gnosticism, Christ consciousness, and all of these concepts that really, really resonated with my soul. It's a feeling, like it's a knowing, right? It's not like you're
Mm-hmm.
following blindly what they tell you. It was just something that I already knew, and so it was like again a process of like understanding my emotions, understanding what I was going through, which led to another pivot, and I call it like the death of my old identity because that was literally last month when
Wow.
I still had the Awakened Entrepreneur, which was like my new program helping entrepreneurs awaken to their fullest potential, spiritually, mentally,
Mm-hmm.
emotionally, which I'm still running, but the that was like yeah, last month I was just like, I'm not that person anymore. I'm not a business coach. I'm not a personal branding coach. I'm not enjoying it. I'm just forcing things. It's not flowing. And everything that I've lived through has led me to this like moment. I am I here to help people awaken, not just entrepreneurs, but people awaken to truth. I feel like I'm a spiritual guide or a spiritual mentor. I don't even know what to
Mm-hmm.
call it yet. But the moment I made that decision and I started sharing more content around that, my account started to blow up. So I've grown like 10,000 new
Wow.
followers in the past week by sharing this new content where I'm talking about spirituality, the truth behind religion,
Yeah.
deconstructing religion, like how religion has lied to people and kept them in fear, and people are
Mm-hmm.
loving it. So that's where I'm at right now. I know it's like
That is
a long
so
story.
interesting. I love it though, because that I really feel like we are all on this journey. And when you are an entrepreneur, and anybody out there who I'm sure can relate to this so much, I know I can, where it just feels like you're on this roller coaster. And I've had moments in my life where I felt flaky because I'll
Mm,
start on something and it's like it's a frequency issue where all of a sudden you
yes.
feel this shift happen. And I
Yes.
remember doing life coaching, and same thing. I started in around 2021 and I was coaching people in a group. And all of a sudden, I wanted to start pulling some oracle cards. And I was like, what are they going to think of me? And what if I offend somebody? And no doubt,
Yeah.
every single person on the call had cards, and they
Oh,
started
wow.
showing me in the call. It was wild. But it's like all of those situations, we have to keep pivoting, because if we don't, then it's
Mm,
stagnant. And I feel like the message that we need to deliver is really potent right now because of, like, you've heard of the new earth and all of
yeah.
everything happening with, raising the consciousness of humankind. So it's really interesting that you're having this big pivot right now. And it's like the message needs to come out. Like it's needed right now to raise
Yeah.
the consciousness of humankind. It's pretty big.
100%. 100%. And I do feel that the reason why I experienced this massive growth and success at the beginning of my journey with the IG Creator Academy, which by the way, I don't know if we told people or not, but I was basically, yeah, helping people grow on social media. We did mention that.
Yeah.
But I was like, I needed to experience that to kind of like grow my like first group of people that I could speak to. But it took me
Mm-hmm.
3.5 years to really find my voice and my truth and be brave enough to share it and to remember it really. Like needed to go through all those situations, like the massive growth and success, then like the decline in all of that, then the breakup, then Bali, then my dip into Christianity, which was very helpful. Like I learned a lot of things about Christianity and Jesus, and now I can use that also in my messaging and in my
Mm-hmm.
content and in the new business that I'm building. Um, but now I am ready. I am ready, and there was a shift in frequency when I made that decision, and yeah, it's like it's energy at the end of the day, and you
It's
could see
energy.
like it just changed from one day to another. It's weird to explain, but when you live it, you just know it.
Do you find it really hard? Like, I love how you talked about your first business was very much about, like, you realized it was reflecting like this vanity metric of
Hmm.
like, I
Yeah.
need this amount of followers. I'm going to, and I know you've talked on your podcast about the trap of comparison, not trying to
Yeah.
follow certain people or compare or realize that your self worth isn't measured on how many followers you have. But then there's this interesting thing when you're an entrepreneur and you're measuring frequency, you also need to kind of do a bit of measuring to know if it's landing, right? Like you just said, it's like,
Hmm.
okay, great, I just realized I have 10,000 extra followers in a week, so my frequency must be up, because I believe that too, where I feel like there is a bit of a frequency energetic um back and forth happening that we can measure, but it's like we can't let our ego become attached to it. Do you agree? Like,
Hmm. 100%. And it's tricky, right? Because at the end of the day, like part of our old selves, even though we say like our old self dies, some
mm-hmm,
parts are still there, right? So it's tricky because now that I'm kind of like reliving what I experienced in my first year of business, which is like this spur of growth and again and success and visibility. right? Because I'm like being seen a lot by a lot of people, again, by a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
You need to stay grounded. The difference is that now I am very spiritually grounded. Like I've done my work, I'm still doing my inner work, and that inner work never stops. Whereas back then I
Good.
was doing
Yeah.
nothing. I was very insecure. I mean, I was obviously younger. But right now, yeah, like there's still part of me that like, oh well, is this going to work? Or like this person's whatever post is looks to be performing better than mine, or their business seems to be performing better than mine. But I just bring myself back to the now and be like, that's not me anymore. That's not true. That version of me served me until now, but I'm letting it go. So I'm always bringing
Mm-hmm.
myself back to the present moment and to like into alignment. But yeah, sometimes
Good. Yeah.
the mind is tricky. I mean, it's bringing you back
So true.
to the familiar, right? Which has been that for the past 4 years for me.
Yeah, it's so true. Like it tries to bring you back to safety, familiar. And for you, I
Yeah,
mean, especially with a marketing background, that's really
yeah,
interesting that that's your familiar where you have to really release and let go of those
yeah,
outcomes, but also
yeah,
know that there
exactly.
is a frequency in what you're doing. And do you find that like when you had that big breakup and it was just like that rock bottom, it feels like that was the big pivotal moment for you, that rock
Mm,
bottom. Did you
100%.
feel like when that happened, it allowed you to recreate? Like it was, I always think of this with my clients where it's like, they say, why me? Why did this have to happen? Why did that, when they're in the breakup? And it's like
Mm,
from a spiritual standpoint, it's like I know for myself in my own life, there's so many moments where it just felt like there was no light, but really it was like that with everything, that darkness is gonna bring light to the situation,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, for me, it's interesting because even though it really hurt, and I mean, I saw myself as this person really for the long term, and it was like m- removing the one of the biggest foundations of my life at the moment, right? But as I said, right at that moment, I'm grateful because I had the resources to, start going to therapy and to really work, and
Mm,
the resources and also the attitude to start working on myself. Because of course, in a breakup, there's always, like it's not just one person, it was both of us. And I was able to see my part for the first time, and I was able to catch it right away and be like,
good for
shit,
you.
this is what I did wrong, and this is what I've been doing wrong for the past years, and this is because, and I've been like this all my life, and this needs to
Wow.
change, right? So that I was already doing therapy actually, so that really helped this way. That really helped me like navigate through the whole thing. Started doing like daily meditations in the morning, at night, reading about emotions and reading about like the mind and journaling. And then that led me into learning about energy. And I was introduced to Joe Dispenza, and just that was just like, whoa, it changed everything. So that was like my way of like, navigating through that situation and holding on to something. So even though, yeah, it really hurt, I was lucky enough to see the light right away, and I understood that, okay, this needed to happen. It had to happen, and I was able to accept as well and trust. I know we're going to be talking about this in a bit, but I was able to accept and trust that everything was happening for me, and that was part of the journey. And yeah, it was sad to let that person go, but I understood that it was the way.
It was necessary. Yeah, it was part of
It
your
was
bigger
necessary.
picture. And
Mm-hmm.
I like to think that I'm always 10 steps ahead of my clients, right? Like, and it's like only 10
Mm.
steps because I just went through something and then I'm teaching them the way, right? Like, it's like,
Yeah.
this is what was worked for me. How much do you feel meditation, daily meditation at that time and now helped you,
Oof, massively, massively.
right?
It's been a game changer. At the beginning, it's hard, obviously, because, emptying your mind Like it's with all the noise that we experience every day, it's hard. But now I've gotten to a point where like I can stay completely empty, like blank mind or in the void, and
Wow.
beautiful things happen when you're there. But back then, it really, really helped me just to like get out of myself, get out of my mind as well. And it was challenging, but you know, it's like a muscle. You need to practice and
Mm-hmm.
practice and practice. And I was trying different meditations, different techniques, and I just loved it. I just fell in love with it, and I haven't stopped doing it since then. I've started introducing other practices like breath work as well,
Mm-hmm.
which I love. But it was a game changer for me. And honestly, I don't think my recovery or like my next chapter would have been the same without meditation.
Mm-hmm. It's that grounding force, right? When the mind is busy,
Mm,
then pulls the root down. I love that. I agree with you. And that's one of the things I give my clients is like, just do 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes a
yeah,
day. That's all you need,
yeah.
right?
That's all you need. And that's the honestly, you can do like 5 minutes a day in the morning, 5 minutes a day before 5 minutes before going to sleep, and that's it. And then you can start increasing. I've done like really long 2 hour meditations, and it's
Wow.
been like beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. And I know with Joe Dispenza, like I remember starting to read his books, and I mean, he does like insane amounts of length of meditations, right? That he encourages.
Yeah.
But I think too, it's like for a lot of people that can be really overwhelming, where it's like 5 minutes, it's all you need.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
when you came to Bali, because I don't know if we've talked about that yet, that you're in Bali, and that was a huge shift for you from like control to trust, right? Where you
Mm,
just trusted the universe and you felt this calling to come. Can you
yeah,
talk
yeah, yeah,
about
yeah.
that?
Yeah. So I first came to Bali in 2018 with my ex actually, and we both wanted to move here. And we were like, okay, we need to quit our jobs, find like remote freelance work and move to Bali. Um, but it wasn't that easy. Then COVID happened. Then, you know, the
Mm,
relationship wasn't doing very well. Then we broke up. And then until I wasn't really ready until last year, but I've always, I always had this calling to come to Bali. I just loved it. And there was something here that kept calling me and calling me. So I moved here last year in October. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. It was just gonna be for 2 months. I'm still here. I've been on and off, but I'm like, I keep coming back. I just love it. And yeah, it was like trusting that intuition, which is really funny because now I have this, again, the same knowing, the same voice, intuition telling me that my next step is to go to Dubai. And I do not even understand why, because I don't
mm,
like Dubai. I have my business set up in Dubai, but I don't like Dubai. I mean it's super uber expensive compared to Bali, but something in me is just telling me you have to go to Dubai. So I'm actually gonna
wow.
follow that nudge as well as I did with Bali, because Bali has been like I've experienced the biggest growth ever, spiritually, emotionally. It's been a place of duality. And I was speaking with a friend yesterday at a podcast interview that Bali has shown me like my highest moments, but also my lowest moments. And it's been like that beautiful
Mm-hmm.
duality, or polarity that life is about, right? Light and darkness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really interesting. I'm really so I will have to I have created a GPT that is on my Instagram actually that I did with AI, and it figures out your past lives and your soul's purpose. And
Oh, I
so
love that.
yeah, so I've built this really neat GPT, and I would be so interested for you to do it because I'm really curious where your past lives were and if you're being drawn to those places because of the past lives. And especially when you
Interesting.
talked about, your Christianity and coming into it, but then kind of pulling away. And I'd be really curious if there's some past life themes there around religion. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
well,
would be
I'm
so
definitely
neat.
gonna do it. Definitely gonna do it. Funny thing though. I did a theta healing session 2 weeks
Mm.
ago, or yeah, 2 weeks ago. And the person who did it for me, she mentioned about something about my past lives, and she mentioned that what I'm doing now and the reason why everything is just exploding now all of a sudden
Yeah.
and reaching like millions of people is because I am finishing something that I started in a past life but I couldn't finish.
Ooh. I love that. Yeah, I think
I'm
I
getting
I love
goosebumps.
Oh, me too. I love reading people's past lives, and it's something that I think is so important and something that a lot of people don't realize why they're stuck in a pattern or why there's something going on in their life that it's like, why am I being called to this? Why is this
Mm,
familiar, but I'm not really sure why? And it's
mm,
like I feel like religion for you is that kind of pull, and then um yeah, it's interesting with the Instagram and the people and I wouldn't be surprised if you were like a leader, a spiritual leader in a past life. That'll be really neat to explore, but I love that the theta healing picked up on that too.
mm,
um
mm.
Tell me about how you integrate AI. Are you still playing around with AI and
Oh, every
integrating it
day.
with, yeah, okay, tell me a bit more about
Every
that.
day. Yeah. So AI, and it's when I think about it, everything has been so meticulously planned in my life. I started dabbling with AI in 2020, at the end of 2022, when ChatGPT just
Mm-hmm.
became like a thing. And that was when my business was already kind of like unstable. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pivot. I've pivoted so many times. So I'm gonna pivot to AI for marketing. So I started like learning about ChatGPT, AI tools, and I actually became like a voice in the AI space, for specifically for AI for marketing. Then I launched this new like a new product suite offers. I launched a new account. I grew it to like 60,000 followers with
Wow.
all using AI, and that was like my 2024 phase, AI phase, until I got bored or like uninspired. I don't know. I always reach the same spot where like I see like success in an area, and then it's just like it's not me anymore, right? And I feel it's
Mm-hmm.
because it's not what my true purpose was. Like right now, I do feel that I'm living this true purpose. But anyways, I became really good at AI, and how I'm using it now is, first of all, I'm using it to do a lot of research because
Mm.
I am really, really obsessed now about finding truth and learning about early Christianity and how like
Mm.
the Bible really has been mistranslated, and the symbols and like the hidden layers behind the Bible and scripture and other texts that were hidden, like, or were removed from the Bible. So obviously AI serves as a huge
Resource.
research,
Yeah.
resource, yeah, for this. I've been using it a lot for research, and I've trained it already so well in my voice, with my personality, with it knows so much about me. I journal with AI. So I've been able to
Mm-hmm.
integrate all that parts of my personality, my thoughts, my emotions, everything that journal into helping me create content about these new topics or things that I'm like getting into. Because obviously I'm not an expert on that. Maybe I am because it's what I used to do in my past life, but I'm just starting to kind of like, uh, yeah, get into this world. So I use it a lot for that, for researching and for turning those research that content into ideas for my content on social media. For we I just created a brand new community. It's called the
Mm.
Misfit Society,
Ooh, I
and
love
I've
that
been using,
name.
yeah, we already have almost 1,000 members. I launched it today, 2 weeks ago,
Oh
with
my
a
gosh.
partner, and our goal was to get 1,000 members by the end of the year, and it's just
It's
exploded.
happened in a week. In a week or two
Mm,
days?
2 weeks, 2 weeks,
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Oh my
Yeah, it's
gosh.
insane. It's insane. It's a free community, but
You are
we're
a
gonna launch like
force. Like you are
we're
a
gonna
force. Wow.
um And for example, I'm using AI to create all the designs for like, the cover pages and like the descriptions. And,
Mm-hmm.
it helps me really like, because my mind, I can't explain it, but there's so much stuff going on in my mind. And it just
Mm-hmm.
helps me structure things in a way that is,
Yes.
easy to understand and comprehend for people. Because I mean, you've probably seen like I'm talking a lot and
Yeah.
like just I say a lot of things and sometimes they don't even make sense. So
Yeah.
AI helps me make sense of myself.
I agree with you 100%. I feel like I remember saying to a friend of mine who is in charge of marketing for a really big company, and I was like, "Oh, I'm really nervous about this AI." And she's like, "Sarah, if you don't get on it, like it's the train's going to leave without you."
Mm.
And I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay." And I had to start like getting comfortable with it. And I really believe that AI is a frequency mirror, right? So it's like
Yeah.
just like you said, where you're putting all your journal entries, you're talking to it, you're allowing it to access to mirror your frequency, and that's where the output is becoming exactly your frequency and outputting what it is that you need, right? Like,
Mm.
and I just think it's so interesting because it's energy. It's energy, just like
Yeah.
anything else.
Just like everything. Yeah.
And just like, what is the coolest thing that you have been able to do with AI?
Ooh, I love that question. The coolest thing I've been able to do with AI. Mm, I mean, in terms of business, I literally built an entire business, like content marketing, sales, everything using ChatGPT, which is how I developed it's called the AI Creator Academy, which I'm still running, by the way. But literally, it just saved me hours and hours of work and stress as well. So that's cool. But if we want to think of something outside of business, um, I don't know. I'm trying to think, but
What?
it
Well,
always
I'm
comes
really
back to
curious.
business.
Well, I'm really curious because, like, I agree with you. Like, and it must blow your mind, ChatGPT, because you were in marketing before,
Yeah,
right? Like, and so
exactly.
all these, like, before AI came out. So it must be like blowing your mind everything you can do that you couldn't do before, compared to like somebody
Mm.
coming in and just trying it out with AI, right? You were doing all of the hustle and all the work before that.
How I don't know how
I
I did it, to be honest. I'm like, how did I
don't know
do
that
all
you
that
look back.
before?
How many people did I have working for me? Oh yeah, it was just me. I know, right? I feel the same with a lot of stuff. I'm really curious. I thought that you were going to say something about your research with the Bible, because a lot of your posts are so interesting, the stuff that you're kind
True,
of uncovering. So now
true,
knowing that you
true.
use AI to do that research.
That's true, and I'm gonna tell you the story about that. So at the beginning of this year, I was still like into in my Christian era. I started doing like this Bible study plan that was in chronological order, and every day you would read like a couple of chapters, and then there was like a commentary, and you would analyze it. And I was so excited. I was like, yes, I want to learn about God and Scripture, and uh, but as I said, like at some point in between, it just felt like, okay, no, I don't. This can't be true. Like, and how is God telling people to kill nations in His name and to like sacrifice babies and to like,
Mm,
how is that right? So I was like, no, I want to do my own Bible study. And I told you, like somehow I was led into mysticism, Gnosticism, also into metaphysics. And
mm-hmm.
I was like, something about metaphysics really, really, really caught my attention. So I was like, I'm gonna do my own Bible study plan from a
I
metaphysics
love
and
that.
quantum perspective, because I do feel that the Bible is just stories, poetry, parables that people have
Mm-hmm.
just taken literally. But if
Mm-hmm.
they never look behind the words, and I want to be able to look behind the words. So what better way of doing that than with AI? So I went on ChatGPT and I explained everything. Like, I've been studying the Bible. I feel like there's something off, doesn't feel right. So I want to like help me create a plan, like think, act as a quantum physicist and metaphysical expert, and help me create a study plan that allow me to read 2 to 3 chapters per day. Basically the same thing I was doing, but in my own way. I created this
Mm-hmm.
incredible like 6 phase plan telling me every like what to read every day, also like some extra books that will complement my study.
Wow.
And I started doing it, and every day I will read like 2 or 3 chapters, but then I will go to ChatGPT and I'll be like, okay, so I just finished reading this and this. Uh, let's dive into it. And it
Mm-hmm.
goes like, well, based on the metaphysical and quantum mechanic side of it, this is happening, like these are the layers of the symbol, this is like the archetypes of the characters, this is how like energy is functioning there, the consciousness. And I was like, wow, it is a
Yeah,
metaphysical book. It talks about quantum physics. They just didn't have the language or technology to explain it like we're doing it now with science, but it is that. It's explaining that. So I think, yeah, that's the coolest thing I've done with ChatGPT,
that's
and that's
really
what led
cool.
me. Yeah, I remember the biggest like aha moments for me is um one day I was studying it, and it talked about repent. And you know how repent has
Mm.
always been associated to like guilt and shame. You need to
Yep.
repent for all everything you've done, otherwise you're gonna go to hell.
Yeah.
But according to metaphysics and to the original term in Greek, which was what the New Testament was written as in Greek, repent is really metanoia in Greek, which is change of mind, change of perception, shift in
Oh,
consciousness.
wow.
So, and I was telling ChatGPT, like,
Ooh,
so
that
it's not
just gave
about,
me chills. Oh,
and I
whoa.
asked, yeah. And I asked ChatGPT, so it's not about guilt? And I was like, no, it's about a drastic shift in consciousness. They're not telling you to repent and feel guilty.
Wow.
They're just telling you to shift your consciousness and align it with your divine source. Oh, and so that was like my biggest aha moment. And I was like, what? Like, we've been lied all our lives, telling us that we need to repent and that we're guilty. And it's not about that. It's about having a shift in consciousness to align with our divine nature, with source,
What?
with God, whatever you want to call it. So I was like, I need to do a reel about this. And I did a reel about that. And that was the first reel after years that went completely viral, got me over 150,000
Wow.
views, brought me like over 2,000 new followers. And that's where my
Wow.
shift started. And I was like, well, I'm gonna do more videos on this. Like, people like me to call out religion for a lie that we've been told for
Yes.
thousands of years. And then I started seeing more parallels, like the word sin. The word sin is not, again, it's not nothing about morality. The sin original Greek term is amartia, which means to miss the mark. And the
Mm.
mark is your oneness with God. So it's not about any moral failure or about wrongdoing. It's just about forgetting your divine oneness. So yes, we're
Oh,
all sinners in a way, as the Bible, as religion tells us, but not because of the things that we do, just because we have spiritual amnesia. We forgot who we are in
yes.
our divinity. That's the
Yes.
sin. And when we remember, we're not no longer sinners. We don't miss the
Wow.
mark anymore. So I did a video about that, and it also went bananas. So that's what I've been doing lately, just calling out
Yeah.
religion for.
It blows my mind because it's like your pathway, right? Like it's like everything that you have done up until this point has led you here. And it's like everything is proof. And you needed to be in Bali to have the mentor to show you the church, to have you part of that community in a safe place that was a different than what you grew up with, allowing you to get the information. That was your field research. And
Mm-hmm.
then you're all of a sudden this shift happened where, your path was like, no, okay, now we're done with the field research. You need to start looking at this in a different way. And that's when all of a sudden it was like, oh my gosh, the pivot happened. Like, why am I what? And then the frequency matching your followers, right? Telling you that this is the right path. This is where you need to start opening up. And I agree with you 100%. Since I was a little girl, I would say that I always felt that the Bible, and I always try to like be careful of speaking about religion, right? Because I would say this and people would get offended. And I would say, I really
Mhm.
feel like it's a story that people have written, and it's like, it's different, it's their truth, it's different ways of looking at a story, and it's an exaggerated truth, right? And it's different people's perspectives that they've put in,
Yeah.
and they've, and but I think there's some really neat messaging in there, and I think there's some really neat, like you said, there's like really cool things that you can pull from it. And I love it when people take that and they dissect it like you do, where it's like there's different ways to look at it. And I really feel like it is a beautiful, beautiful book, but maybe we're doing a disservice to it only
Yeah.
looking at it from one angle,
Yeah.
right?
100%.
And it's like
100%.
it's interesting because I have three kids, and one of my kids came up to me and said, "Mom, like, who is God?" And I
Hmm.
said, "Well, like, what a beautiful question, eh?" And I said, "God is not a man or a woman. God is an energy. God is the energy that has created everything around us. And, the reason why things are here, it's an energy."
Yeah.
And I just tried to keep it simple, but it's like, that's my belief. That's my belief
Yeah.
that it's this universal energy. And we can look at it as source, God, energy, like there's all different names for it, and none of them are
Mm.
wrong.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And
I
my journey
love
has been
that.
able to see it from all these different perspectives, like from universe, from God, from Jesus, from source, now from like the metaphysical standpoint, from the quantum. So there's no right or wrong. You're absolutely right. And it really upsets me when people really get so defensive on their truth being the only truth. Because
Mm-hmm.
there's no universal truth. It's all based on your own perceptions and experiences and your upbringing. So, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter,
It
right?
doesn't
It's
matter.
like as long as you are a good person, you love your neighbors, you love yourself as well, you do good things. It doesn't matter what you believe.
And I think it comes back to what you said about the term oneness, right? And
Hmm.
Wayne Dyer is one of my favorite authors, favorite people, and he always talks about oneness. Like, that is the
Yeah.
truth. That is that, oneness within, and if we can all connect to that. And what does he say? He says something about, oh, he says, "I am God." And he would do that kind of like to surprise people. And he said, "You are God. We are all
Mm,
God. God is inside. We all have pieces of God inside of
exactly.
us. We are all
Mm,
oneness, together."
yeah.
And yeah, the divide between religions just always blows my mind, because I don't know if that was ever meant to happen. I don't know if there
Mm,
was supposed to be so
no.
many different variations and divides, and I think right now with the universe, it's like divide is so huge right now, and I think what you're doing and the work you're doing is really helping to connect that oneness, and really helping to show that we are all connected, and that there is a bigger picture, and you really are raising the consciousness of humankind.
Yeah, and I feel
Yeah.
that it really is my purpose and raise consciousness. And we're in like living in times when this needs to be done. Consciousness needs to be
Mm-hmm.
raised, and it's being raised. Like there's a collective consciousness awareness growth or whatever you want to call it. Like it you can feel it, and like people are awakening, and it's not only my work, but it's you see so many other people, like your work as well is helping people raise their consciousness.
Thank
So
you.
I think that there's more and more people waking up to this, and it's beautiful that it's happening now because we are like we are on the verge of like the stepping into the new earth, like we are.
Mm-hmm.
So we need this work to happen. But what surprises me is how some people, as we were talking about religion and like how divides people, how some people really prefer to live in fear and follow
Mm-hmm.
blindly this like these like the dogma, and they're so indoctrinated. I did
Yeah.
another research on
Mm-hmm.
the true meaning of Satan. And Satan was
Mm-hmm.
never like this red horned devil, or like
Mm-hmm.
evil entity that religion has told you to fear, but it really comes from the word Satan, which is the adversary, the judge, right? And it was supposed
Mm.
to be the in the council, in God's council, he was the adversary. He was like the one who would judge. So if you think about it from a psychological standpoint, we all have a judge inside of our minds.
Mm-hmm.
We all have someone that's like
Absolutely.
the inner critic. So and my real was like, what if Satan is not someone to something or an entity to fear outside of you, but inside of you, the inner critic, the voice that's always telling you you can't do this, you're not good enough. Like, and we all have that inside of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And
A
people were
hundred percent.
furious. People were furious. They wanted to believe that Satan was real. And I was like,
Really?
seriously?
In your comments? In the comments, people were
Yeah,
furious?
yeah.
Wow.
Furious. There was this woman that was like telling me like, what the actual fuck is wrong with you? Like, and I was like, whoa,
Oh
I blocked
my
her. Obviously, I
gosh.
just blocked her. I don't want that energy in my
No.
community. But I was like, why? Why are you so addicted to fear?
Yeah, and I think it's okay to not agree with somebody, but I always find it's like have an open mind,
Yeah,
right? Like it's like you don't
exactly.
have to agree with the person, but understand and respect that everybody has their own opinion. Just like I respect and honor that somebody is going to church every day as a Catholic,
Yeah,
whatever religion, that's not for me, but I honor and
yeah,
respect that you have your beliefs, right? Like, and it
yeah,
blows my mind when people are that angry about it. You can tell that there's something behind it, right? Like there's
yeah.
something that's unsettling for them that you're showing them a mirror.
Yeah, 100%. And I always do like I always start these videos like what if, like I'm not stating that
Mm-hmm.
this is the absolute truth. It's something that I've discovered, something that I'm learning. I might be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'll admit it. But right now, everything is leading me to these discoveries, and I want to share them.
Yeah, 100% because it's allowing people to have open thought. And again, it's that raising the consciousness where you're like, what if this were true? And you're allowing people to think about things in a different way. That's beautiful. That's what we want. That's what social media platforms are all about. And it's like it's
Exactly.
not just what if you did your reel like this, with this type of caption. It's provocative in the way of allowing us to think in a different way, in a really
Yeah,
deeper
exactly.
sense. Yeah, it's very
Yeah, exactly.
risky, and I appreciate you
Yeah.
doing it.
No, and I've learned that when you are polarizing, when you are creating controversy, it is
Mm,
scary. And I've been scared, to be honest. And the moment when I told you, where I was like, okay, I'm like shifting identities, but I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm gonna be judged.
yeah.
I'm gonna be criticized. I've been called so many things since I started doing, like I've been called like I'm following Satan. I'm like a false prophet. Like people have been like really rude. Like I hope God destroys you, stuff like that. But when you're causing
Wow.
that, it is a sign that you're speaking your truth and that you're on the right path.
That's such good advice because that's a really good point. You had people who were following you when you were very deep into the Christian faith, you were being baptized, and then now you've done this big pivot and they're looking at you going, where is he? Where's the person that I followed? Why is he telling me that the devil is someone, that maybe isn't bad? Okay,
Mhm.
yes. Wow, that's very that must be hard. But good for you for
Mhm.
turning it around and saying, I know I'm on the right path because it's causing a stir, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Wow. Good for you. Do you still identify yourself as the awakened entrepreneur?
That's a great question. I am an awakened entrepreneur for sure, and you are an awakened entrepreneur, and I still want to help entrepreneurs awaken if that's what they want from me. But
Mm,
that's not where my main energy is going to go right now. I think I'm just being called to build this massive community of people that want to awaken, the spiritual misfits, the mystics, all the people that want to learn more about God, source, the universe outside of religion. And I feel that's why it's been working so well and the community has grown so fast and my content is like going viral. It's because it's how it's meant to be. But yeah, like I'm an entrepreneur. I love entrepreneurship. I love building businesses. And so yeah, I still identify myself as an awakened entrepreneur and I will continue to run that program, but I don't think it's going to be my main focus for now. I
mm-hmm.
still get people like last week after it's funny, I did another post is a carousel on the original translation of the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic, which is
Mm,
yeah, Jesus's like language, and it has nothing to do with what the English translation says. It's more about again a shift in consciousness, aligning with the
wow.
divine consciousness. Um, and I made that translation, and the carousel blew up, like blew up. It's already like 500,000 views, and someone reached out to me saying like, "Hey, I loved your post on that. I have a conscious business. I'm just getting started. Do you do coaching?" So of course I'm not gonna tell him no. Like, of course I'd love to help you. So we're actually having a call next week, and I have someone else
Good.
that booked a call that to work on her business. So I'm still gonna be doing that, but not forcing it so much. It's just gonna like if people
Mm-hmm.
flow to me, come to me, then of course, because I love that part of
Yeah.
myself as well. But right now, my main focus is yeah, it's the spiritual misfits.
The spiritual misfits. Okay. So, for people who are listening, the spiritual misfits, how do they join? How is this something that they jump in?
Yeah, so they can DM me on Instagram, Mystic,
Okay.
and my bot will send them the link to join. It's free to join. And then, or they can go to school. I don't know if they know school, but it's like a community platform where you can build communities. So we've built our community there. So it's school.com/ the Mystic Misfit Society. I'm sure it has dashes on there, so I can. But if
I'll
they
link
search
it
on
all too
Google,
in the show notes. Yeah,
okay,
I'll link
perfect.
it for
Yeah.
everybody.
So, and it's free to join. I love the energy inside of that community. People are sharing their journeys, their awakening stories, sharing the resources. There's a lot of free resources there that my partner and I are sharing. We just did on Tuesday a full moon ritual activation. And then we're doing like a 7-day challenge, and all that is free. And we're opening this new like more intimate container inside of the Mystic Misfit Society, where we're going to be doing some extra like inner work activations, Bible studies based on
Wow.
the studies that I've been doing on from a metaphysical standpoint. So that one is going to be it's paid, but the whole community is free to join.
Perfect. So it's like you can join in on the community, dip your toe in, and then kind of see what you want to go from there. And there's options to upgrade to the different things that you offer. That's a great
Exactly.
model.
Yeah.
Um, so that I will put in the show notes to make sure that everybody has it. Do you think that you would ever write a book
Yes.
that's like showcasing the polarities and the different, like kind of like an insider's guide to what you've learned?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I can
I
feel it.
always, yeah, I always knew I was going to write a book. Same as with the podcast. I always knew I wanted to do a podcast, but I didn't want to do it on marketing or like social media. So doing it on entrepreneurship and spirituality is beautiful. And I'm still going to run that podcast because it's one of my favorite things to
Hmm.
do, to talk to entrepreneurs. And the book as well, I always, it's annoying. Like I know I'm going to write a book, and someone commented on one of my reels the other day. It's like, you should write a book. And I was like, yeah, this is
Yeah.
confirmation.
And now again, here we go. Oh, I can feel it.
Yeah.
Like intuitively, I'm like, I can't wait to read that book. It's coming. Um, do you have any last advice for somebody who is feeling like they are stuck in control and they are stuck in something that doesn't feel like, because you're very good at listening to your intuition and knowing when you have headed down a road, and then that inner knowing of this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing anymore. I need to pivot. What advice would you give to the listeners who might not be as good with their intuition and are kind of just stuck and not really sure how to trust, where to go?
Yeah, I think I've been there, and I'm well gonna share it from my experience. But the reason why I was stuck in control and in fear is because I was again looking for external validation, for
Mm,
external answers, asking my friends or my coaches, or looking at what people were saying on social media, but never really listening to what my inner guidance was saying. And it doesn't matter if you don't feel like you're connected with your intuition or not, but I promise that if you go into your room, shut down the light, turn off the lights, sit in silence for 5 minutes and ask a question, like,
mm,
or just ask yourself, what should I do about this? Or what decision should I make? Like if you sit in silence for 5 minutes, the answer will come. So I would
mm,
tell you, of course, maybe not in the first like try, but I would tell you to start practicing these moments of silence. Again, as we were talking before, just you just need 5 minutes of just sitting with yourself, closing your eyes, like focusing on the black space you see behind your eyes and asking. And I promise you either get an answer there in form of a vision or an idea, or you'll get an answer throughout your day with synchronicities or things that
mm-hmm.
happen, or maybe someone tells you something that makes it click for you. But yeah, trusting more that inner voice and practicing it, like really making the habit of, sitting alone and asking and listening.
I love that advice. That's so true. And I love how you tied it to, not listening to the external, listening to the internal, and taking time to listen to yourself and actually develop that relationship with yourself. Because it's like if you don't know what you want, right, you need to actually listen and be able to move forward. Yeah, that's so
Yeah,
good. So good. Thank you
yeah.
so much for being on the podcast. This got juicy really fast. This episode, it was so good. And
Thank
thank
you.
you for the work you do and the pivots you make and just following your intuition. It's a joy to watch, and I'm so glad to be a part of it watching, and I will put everything in the show notes, everybody, so that you'll have all of the info and you'll be able to follow and join and do all the things. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Really enjoyed this conversation. And yeah, I can't wait to listen to the episode and yeah, stay connected as well.